What if I told you that everything you think you know about being healthy is a lie? Let's get right into it, because what's a game changer for one person could literally be a silent killer for someone else. And the reason why? It's all written in a code inside you that chances are you've never even seen. I mean, just think about your routine right now. That killer high-intensity workout you swear by? Or that trendy new diet everyone's raving about? What about that handful of supplements you take every single morning? We're all told this stuff is the key to a long, healthy life. But is it really? And more importantly, is it the key for you? And look, these things are everywhere. You've got the HIIT workouts, the keto diets, people running marathons, popping supplements that promise the world. And for a lot of us, right, these aren't just habits anymore. They're part of who we are. But here's the kicker. What if I told you that without knowing your own personal genetic blueprint, you're basically walking a tightrope blindfolded? Because for some people, and we don't know who until we look, these healthy habits aren't just not working, they are active triggers for a complete biological disaster. And you want to know the scariest part? These people often look and feel amazing. They're the picture of health, right up until the very second they're not. Okay, so let's dig into what I'm calling the healthy hazard. We're seeing this really terrifying trend, right? People who are doing everything by the book, and yet they're the ones who suffer these horrible outcomes. So what on earth is going on? And listen, this isn't just theory. This is real life. We are seeing this happen all the time. A 25-year-old looks like he's in peak condition, just collapses playing badminton. A marathon runner, the absolute picture of endurance, just drops mid-race. You hear about these super fit people at the gym, folks who look like fitness models, suffering from sudden heart failure. It's happening. So what's the common thread here? What connects all these awful stories? It all comes down to a fundamental mismatch, a clash between the lifestyle they chose, what they were told was healthy, and the secret instruction manual that's been hardwired into their DNA from birth. And that right there brings us to the absolute core of all of this, decoding your personal blueprint. We're going to look at a real-life example of how this all plays out. And I'll warn you, this case study is, well, it's fascinating, but it's also kind of terrifying. Again, this isn't some abstract idea. We're talking about a real 65-page genetic report. And the results for this person, who looked totally healthy on the outside, were, well, to put it mildly, they were a massive wake-up call. So let's pop the hood and see what was really going on. All right, first red flag that pops up, a genetically high risk for LDL cholesterol. The quote-unquote bad cholesterol that can clog up your arteries. And the key word here is genetically. This isn't just about what they were eating. Their body was literally programmed to overproduce it. A pretty common issue, sure, but believe me, this was just the tip of the iceberg. Then it gets worse. The report shows a high risk for myocardial infarction, which is just the medical term for a heart attack. So now you've got two very serious cardiac risk factors stacking up one on top of the other. And all of this is completely hidden in their genes, totally invisible to the naked eye. And then, the knockout punch. The report states it in black and white. High risk for sudden cardiac arrest. This isn't some vague warning, It's a direct, blaring alarm bell saying that a specific set of circumstances could trigger a catastrophic, fatal event. Just imagine for a second reading that about yourself. So, what was the trigger? What was the thing that could set off this ticking time bomb? This is where it all clicks into place. The trigger was high-intensity interval training, HIIT. Yeah. One of the most popular, most praised, most healthy workouts on the entire planet was, for this one person, the potential switch for sudden death. Unbelievable. Okay, deep breath. I know, that was the scary part. But look, knowledge like this isn't about creating fear, it's about empowerment. And that's where this idea of biohacking comes in. Now, forget all the crazy Silicon Valley stuff you might have heard. At its core, biohacking is simple. It's about finally getting the user manual for your own body. The real science behind this is something called epigenetics, and it's an absolutely fascinating field. It basically shows that while you can't change your fundamental DNA code, you have a ton of power to influence which genes get switched on and which get switched off. Think of it this way. You are not your code. You're the programmer who tells the code how to run. So how do you actually do this? Well, it's pretty much a 3-step process. Step 1, you decode your genes. You get the test and see what your unique predispositions are. Step 2, you take that information and you identify your personal triggers. What foods, what exercises, what habits are your personal kryptonites? And step 3, you modify your lifestyle. You start dodging those triggers and instead playing to your genetic strengths. Simple as that. And you know what's really cool? A lot of this biohacking stuff isn't some crazy new invention. It's actually ancient wisdom, just repackaged with modern science. That thing our ancestors called pranayama, we now call it breathwork. Walking around barefoot, we call that grounding or earthing. And things like pickles or idli, those are just fermented foods, a classic way to improve your gut health that we've known about for centuries. But hey, this is about so much more than just dodging bullets. It's about achieving your absolute peak performance in every part of your life. Because once you understand your own code, you can start to optimize not just your body, but the most powerful tool you have, your brain. Get this, 96%. That is a huge number, and that's how much of your daily life, your habits, your snap reactions, your food cravings, is run by your non-conscious brain. It's on complete autopilot. So if you want to make real lasting change, you can't just fight the system. You have to learn to work with it. And this, right here, is why so many driven, ambitious people eventually crash and burn. Listen to me on this. Burnout is not a moral failing. It is not you being weak or lazy. It is a biological state. It's what happens when your ambition literally outpaces your body's ability to keep up. The only way out, you have to upgrade your biological hardware. All right, so let's bring this all home. It's so easy to look at stuff like genetic tests or high-quality supplements and think, wow, that's an expense. But that is totally the wrong way to look at it. The right way to see it, it's the single best investment you can possibly make. I really want you to let this next thought sink in because it's so important. Wellness is always cheaper than illness. It's just one of the most simple, profound truths there is, not just for your health, but for your finances too. I mean, just look at this breakdown. When you invest in wellness, your gym membership, your supplements, preventative tests, you are in control of the cost. You decide what to spend. But with illness, man, when that hospital bill shows up, you have zero control. None. That's a cost that is forced upon you, and you just have to pay it. So here's the bottom line. The technology to read your body's personal user manual, it exists today, right now. You don't have to guess what's healthy for you anymore. You can actually know. The only question left is, are you ready to finally read it?